I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you. And what we're going to do today is actually a workshop in which we hope we're going to tantalize you with bits of a full-bore performance that needs a full theater space with the ability to manipulate things in a way that we weren't able to do here. But we hope we're going to do something equally interesting, which is focus on talking about the creative process of our collaboration, and then also having time to converse together and talk about the emotions that are behind the material in this performance that we're going to talk about. So we don't want to talk too much before you see a little bit of something. And so we're going to share with you a first passage of choreography from the Vortex called The Ridiculous Sequence, which is loosely I'll just creep off your experience. And we'll talk about the content after you actually sing it.
Organization that makes substance live. Lonnie Darcy. This is Princess Michelle, and this is William Shore. So we put together this piece. When I choreograph, a lot of the input is from the dancers, so while I am the choreographer director, they also co-choreograph with me. We use a process of a lot of improvisation. And so for this section, we gathered stories that were ridiculous, that actually happened. There's quite a few of them to scientists focusing on, mostly on race, on gender, and that's what this section is about. So we titled it Ridiculous. It's a longer section that also includes a story of Lise Meitner, who you may have heard of, a physicist who worked on atomic fusion, and her collaborator won the Nobel Prize for it, and she was not even mentioned that she contributed after 35 years of research. So these are the kind of stories that we focus on. And I think that's all I need to say.
Yes. So now we're going to hear from Dawn Sumner, who is the scientific member of our team.
Yeah, so the collaboration has a long, rich history. And I've worked with scientific visualization in 3 dimensions. Sort of, I'm a geologist and our scientist, and a lot of what we do needs insights in 3 dimensions. And so as part of our collaboration developing this, we invited some artists to come see our visualization system, and Meredith was one of those. And she was immediately inspired to think about swirling images in a vortex, because in 3 dimensions it makes a big difference. And so we started a project where she drew dreams, and we would and I would essentially animate them in virtual reality. And we had a Jurassic Artist Science residency together, sponsored by Leonardo, which is where we met Donna, and she dreamed of seeing her dancers go through this vortex. And so the software that animates these dreams is written at University of California, Davis. It's part of another collaboration I'm in. And you can be in a room, sort of like the holodeck on Star Trek, and see the images move in 3 dimensions. You can manipulate them, or you can use a virtual reality headset to do so. And so for performance, if we had the support staff in particular, the technical staff, we could project these images in 3D like a 3D movie. But they are rendered that way. And then there's this technical challenge of putting them into 2D in a way that's actually visually interesting. The experience interacting with and seeing these sorts of things in 3 dimensions is very different. And one particular thing is, like, for example, that image is a flat drawing that Meredith made, but in 3D, if you look at it and on, you can't see it. So in 3D, you have to curve them, but in 2D, if they're curved, then they become distorted. And so we've had a lot of fun and challenges on doing this. So the software that I write is the manipulation of the images. It's in programming language Python, and it's built on several layers of other software that translates the objects into 3D, and then there's a set of software that controls the 3D display and visualization. So the technology behind this is much more than making sort of a flat animation video, and it also has a lot, because of that, it also has a lot of restrictions in what you can do. So Meredith often asks me, can we do this with the images? And I say no, but we could do, do something else with it through time. So we can talk more about the technology as it goes on.
So we're ready for the slideshow.
So I'm just going to say a few minutes about the drawings. Every drawing that you see is based on either a historical story or an interview that I conducted with a scientist. And there's a process that we started with the Dream Vortex of gathering stories from scientists and then translating it into this platform. So next. As Don mentioned, we met at Jurassic, which we particularly wanted to give a shout out to because it's a Leonardo-sponsored residency. And I just wanted to mention that in addition to Don and I meeting Donna, we had four other residents from that class who've contributed either stories or music to the performance. So fully half of 14 residents got swept up in this vortex. The stories, one of the stories that we got from Jurassic was from a cognitive scientist who had told the story of being in high school and being told by her teacher in a physics class that the boys were to be allowed to use the microscope first because they were going to go on to become scientists, but the girls weren't really serious. And so the way the girls would get access to the equipment so that they could do their homework was they would go and stand by the boys and giggle about menstruation. So that led to this drawing, which I hope that may give you just a little bit of an idea of trying to compress a whole story into an iconic image. Next. There were themes that came up in the stories that range, I think for the different types of themes, range all the way from very small things where no one perhaps really intended to hurt someone, but for example, a story of being the only woman in a lecture hall of 300 people for your botany class. So there's a feeling of isolation, which next. Also is in the story of Lisa Meitner, which Donna introduced to you, and which is such an iconic story when Otto Hahn received the Nobel Prize for their joint work on nuclear fission. So, next. And so there's all kinds of feelings that come out of these stories of various kinds, which show up in different ways in the drawings. Next. But there's also, we wanted also to emphasize the pleasure that keeps people coming back to keep doing it, has kept women, people who are gender nonconforming, people of color, being involved in science. So the image in the dance of the black scientist who can't get a job is from the story of E.E. Just, who's a turn of the 20th century biologist who did amazing, interesting work. And here we have our star Don, who works with the Curiosity rover as well as early life research on microbial forms and photosynthesis. So this is just a taste of the dozens of drawings which are in the Vortex, but that is, we wanted to just give a sense of kind of what we were thinking about for the performance and then give you another taste. Next. And I wanted to talk about, before you see the dance part of it, I want to talk a little bit about the projection part of it. So this is a section called harassment, which is about not the microaggressions, but the moments when someone is actually being attacked in some way. Is the particular story we use is from Sarah Ballard, who was the scientist who's out at Jeffrey Macy at UC Berkeley in the last couple of years. Some of these things have been in the news a lot. If you want more details than I'm giving you, the full stories are in those programs there. You can pick them up on the way out. But I wanted to talk for just a minute about the portraits that you see in the background are portraits of the two dancers who, for this iteration, were performing the passage. The full company is 5 dancers, so that everybody is here today. In the choreography, Donna had this wonderful notion of the inner and outer woman, the woman who wants to succeed in her career and who is kind of going along with what's going on with her supervisor, not knowing to do quite is played by one dancer. And the inner feeling of getting ever more uncomfortable and then finally feeling like really attacked and pushed over her boundaries and resisting that and kind of pushing back is played by the other dancer. So we have this interesting problem of helping people connect with the inner and outer dialogue, which is being represented on stage. So next slide. As these images are projected, you're going to click to play on the video. We hope you'll see this. If you don't, then go ahead. So, yeah, there we go. The images actually, the portraits actually begin together. They separate as the character is experiencing this division between her inner and outer self, and then as she reaches the point of figuring out what she wants to do about this, they reunite into one image. So that's just an example of the kind of dialogue between the images and the choreography that we're looking at. So, with that introduction to the passage, we're going to switch gears. We're going to show you one more passage, short passage of dance, and then we'll have a time for us all to dialogue and work together.
scientist. I didn't want to risk everything by complaining.
All right. That's a very hard passage for broadcasters for many reasons. But so what we'd like to do now is see if you'll play with us. We have two possibilities. Donna can work with people. We figure maybe you have stories, maybe someone you know has a story, and there's cards on your seat where you could make a few notes in the next couple of minutes. And then I have drawing materials and stuff that we can play with. So the people who are interested in maybe taking a story and seeing what kinds of movement they might emerge from it. And don't worry, you don't have to be the ones doing this part, although if you want to, you're totally invited. We'll go over in this area. And people who are more interested in maybe working with drawing will come over here and chairs a little bit. And then, this is a moment simply also for conversation. Really, we're here to engage with each other. And if you, this is kind of equal opportunity thoughts about this. I mean, like if this, what stories you have, what stories might seem like they're forbidden, because people can put in so, I'll give you just a couple minutes to think about anything that you might have. Yeah.
I have a question about the boundaries of this space. Because it seems like it could bring up stories that are personal. Are there explicit safety boundaries? What happens to these cars? What happens to the movement? Is this movement being recorded?
We will turn the recording off or turn the documentation off for this section. That's a wonderful question. It hadn't occurred to me that people might not take their cards with them, but we are happy to give that as a safety boundary, that if you leave the cards here, we'll destroy them. And anything that comes out of this. So, we don't have a lot of time to process things in a really deep way, so we're also going to be a little bit careful about we want to talk with people about real things, but we're also developing imagery. We're talking about the process of developing imagery from them. So we'll be gentle and see if we can have a real conversation in the 20 minutes that we have. That's very...
We won't share any
Yeah.
of this with anyone outside this room.
One of the really interesting things about this process is that Meredith in particular hears a lot of things that are very personal and very sensitive. And the act of drawing them, which is one of the things that you do here, abstracts that to make it a little bit more general, so people can see some of their own story in it, but the person who made and triggered the drawing doesn't necessarily recognize it as their experience. So one of the interesting things about the artistic process is that it takes real stories and real things and transforms them in a way that does make them safer and also makes it more connected to other people.
And I do a lot, particularly right now with the political environment, talking to my students about sexual harassment issues, and that having those stories from others is really useful, to sort of say you're not alone, this is a general problem, those sorts of things. So I really respect that as well.
Yeah, and also general opportunity. And I want to say that this, what you're experiencing is something that we have done after every performance. The performance has been developing over time, but we view this opportunity for conversation as really part of the project. So this is something. All right, so now we'll give you your few minutes to reflect while we bring out the materials and kind of move into a different mode.
This will be 20 minutes. Is that what you said?
Well, it's brief. We have really about half an hour, but I figure with the introduction.